tired, so tired, overtired.
Hey, you're listening to Overtired. I am Brett Terpstra, and it's just me and Christina Warren this morning. How you doing, Christina?
Doing pretty good. Doing pretty good. Yeah, this is the OG overtired configuration.
Right. Back to basics.
Back to
Um,
basics. We do miss you, Jeff, though. Hope that Jeff is having a great holiday with his family.
we'll have to have some gratuitous wiki K-hole that you go down just to commemorate the olden days. So yeah, let's do a quick check-in. I'm curious about your health and all of the wildness that's going on with your spine and whatnot.
Yeah. Sam, I want to hear about you too. Christina's cervical spine update, as it were. I am still waiting to, as we're recording this, which is like 3 days before Christmas. I am still waiting to hear from the hospital to see if when I can get scheduled. Insurance has sort of been a pain in the ass. So when I talked to them last week, they were like, we sent them some paperwork. We're still waiting for some things back. Then I called the insurance company, and like my insurance has like an intermediary service that is supposed to contact the insurance company on your behalf, and that person, but like I can't contact them directly. And then that person was like, oh, you don't need pre-authorization, go ahead and schedule the surgery. And I'm like, this doesn't feel right. But we went ahead and we called back the surgeon his office, and they were very nice, and we were like, they say that we can get on the books. So I don't know when that will be. I'm hoping that it will be, like the first week of January, or thereabouts. But I don't know. So I am still kind of in this like limbo stage where I don't know exactly when I'm going to have the surgery, except hopefully soon. And for anyone who hasn't caught up, I have a bulging disc on C7 on my cervical spine, and I'm going to get a artificial disc replacement. So they're going to take out the bulging bone and all that, and put in some synthetic piece, and then hopefully that will immediately relieve the pain that has been primarily through the left side of my arm and my shoulder, down through my fingers, but it's been on my right side a little bit too. So hopefully when that is done, it'll be a relatively short recovery. I'll have an early scar, and I will be, not the pain right now, like the levels aren't terrible, but I'm pretty numb on my left arm, my right arm, or right fingers, I guess too. But really, it's the left side that's the worst. And traveling, I'm in Atlanta with my family right now, and kind of doing other things is just it's not great. So hopefully I'll be getting surgery sooner rather than later. But obviously all that stuff does impact your mental health too when you're in pain.
Sure.
And
Yeah,
you
definitely.
are freaked out too about, like, even though like they do, it's not an uncommon surgery, and it should be fine. But there's always these things in the back of your mind. You're like, okay, well, what if something goes wrong or whatever? So I'm looking forward to, light at the end of the tunnel, but still kind of in a holding pattern with that. So
Wow.
that
So
is
that
me.
that scar is going to be on your throat.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Like
That'll be
probably
cool.
like, no, not really. I'm hoping that it'll be no, it really won't be at all. Hopefully
I would like to have it. I can understand why you wouldn't.
yeah. I mean, I will obviously, hopefully it'll be like low enough to be primarily covered by shirts or other things, although who knows, because I do like to wear like lower cut things sometimes. I don't know. It'll hopefully, they
I
can
heard
do something.
chokers are coming back.
Yeah, I don't. Unfortunately, I think it's going to be too low for that.
Okay.
So, it's going to be. I think like it might hit against my larynx, is what they say. That's the other thing too. I might have, some hoarseness after. It won't be permanent. Knock on wood.
If you go on Etsy, you can get they're for BDSM. They're like neck. They hold your chin up. They're like posture enhancers.
Okay.
But they sell them in leather with like corset straps because they're like a BDSM accessory. That would work.
Sure. No. No.
Okay.
Not even once. Not even once. I mean, like, good for people who want to do that. I will not be wearing a collar of any sort of that sort of thing. I don't really want to want to be part of one of those types of, uh Harlequin
Subcultures.
romance novels.
All right. Well, I will go ahead and check in. Um, I I'm sleeping really well for like 2 days at a time, and then I'll have a string of like 5 or 6 hours of sleep, which isn't nothing, but it's not quite enough for me to not feel tired all the time. And 2 nights of sleep is not enough for me to catch up on sleep. And so I'm kind of this has been going on for like a year though, so I'm just kind of I'm used to it, and I've learned to operate pretty well on 6 or 7 hours of sleep, even though historically, like I need 8.5.
Hmm.
Um, but I'm doing okay, and I get up about 4 every morning, and I start coding, and I usually code from like 4 to noon, so an 8-hour workday with a breakfast somewhere in there. And I've made really good progress. Marked is, as far as I can tell, ready to go wide with the beta. Um, I think I've solved every bug that's been reported so far. I only have about 100 testers right now, but I'm going to open it up, try to get maybe 1,000 testers for a couple weeks, and then go for a live release. The biggest thing that I'm running into is problems with getting the like free trial and the purchase mechanisms working, which is the exact same thing that's holding up NV Ultra right now. So if I can figure it out for Marked, I can port it to NV Ultra. I can have 2 apps out there making money, hopefully never have to get a job again. I'm teamed up right now with Dan Peterson, formerly of 1Password,
Nice.
and we're working on some iOS apps, and Apex, my universal markdown processor, is it's coming along really well. I've put it out there. I've talked to John Gruber a little bit about it. He's gonna give it more of a workout and get back to me. But I think it's getting to a point where I would be comfortable integrating it into Marked and even talking to some other apps about using it as their default processor, and kind of alleviating some of the issues people run into with differences in syntax. Um, I I I talked to Devon Think, Eric
Hmm.
from Devon Think, about using it because they use multi markdown right now, which has a lot of cool features, but is not really in sync with what most of the web is using these days. So I talked to them about it, and they're like, "Oh, we had the exact same idea, and we're almost done with our own universal processor." And theirs is going to output like RTF and things that I don't need Apex to do, because you can just pipe Apex into Pandoc and do everything you need. So anyway, I'm tired. I'm in good spirits. I I'm dealing fine with winter. I'm alone on Christmas, which is going to be weird. My family's out of town. Ella's house sitting. I'll go visit Elle, but most of the day I'm gonna be like by myself on Christmas. And I don't drink anymore. And I I don't I don't know how that's gonna go yet. Initially I thought, oh, that's fine. I like being alone. But then the idea of like not having anyone to talk to you on Christmas Day started to feel a little depressing.
Yeah, yeah. But hopefully, when will Elle be back from house sitting? How long are they going to be
I
doing that?
think I think the house owners come back Thursday or Friday,
Okay.
and then we're gonna take off and go up to Minneapolis to hang out with her family for a weekend. So I don't know. It's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine. We're gonna like cook on Christmas Eve and have leftovers on Christmas Day. It'll be fine.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, but that is weird. Like, I'm sure, like, to be, not with like your usual crew, but um especially without the alcohol there. But that's probably a
Yeah,
good thing
right.
too.
Yeah, I guess. I will have all the cats. I'll be fine. I have to take care of the
Uh,
dog too.
have you heard any updates, like, I guess, about when you were in the hospital a few times over the last year with various things? Did you ever get any definitive update on what that was?
On which I have so many symptoms. Which one are we talking about?
Well, I guess when you've had to be, like, hospitalized, or not
The
hospitalized, but you went to the
pancreatitis.
yeah, the
That
pancreatitis, yeah.
the fact that it hasn't happened again since I stopped drinking, really does indicate that it was entirely alcohol that was causing the problem. So yeah, I'm never gonna drink again. That's fine. It's all fine. Um, I did I did get approved to get back on Medicaid.
Okay.
Um,
Oh, excellent.
so yeah, I haven't gotten the paperwork in the mail yet, but my old card should just start working, and I'll be able to. My new doctor wants a whole bunch more tests, including an MRI of my pituitary gland, um, and like testosterone tests and stuff that I guess is more specific to what she thinks might be going on with me. But now I can actually get those tests. That would have been just a huge out of pocket expense over the last couple of months.
Mhm.
So I'm excited. I'm excited to be back on Medicaid. I wish everyone could have Medicaid.
Yeah, that would be really nice. That would be really nice if we had systems like that available, for everyone. But instead, they're like, If you've really great health." I mean, you've pointed that out. Like, you have really great health insurance if you can prove that you make absolutely no money.
Yeah.
Um, but that opens up so many other you know issues that most people aren't lucky enough to be able to.
Right. Yeah,
Um,
totally.
right.
All right. Well, okay, first topic. How
Hmm.
much do you know about USB-C cables and the various specs? I assume
More
you
than
know a shit ton.
I do. Unfortunately, I know a lot.
So I I had been operating under the assumption that there were basically you had like data USB-C cables, you had Thunderbolt USB-C cables, and you had like power only USB-C cables. It turns out there's like 18 different varieties of different voltage, amperage levels, like total
Yep.
wattage basically, and transfer speeds, and there's like maximum lengths for different types of cable.
Yep.
And I started to understand why like one device would charge with one cable and another device would not charge with the same cable, even though they all have the same connector.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think this is why some of us have been really, like, eye rolly at the EU for their pronouncements about certain things, because simply mandating a connector type doesn't actually solve the problem.
No, it actually
Um
confuses it a little bit
I
because
think,
you
yeah,
don't
I
know
was
what
going to
you're
say
getting.
exactly. I think in some cases it makes it worse, right? And then you have different, like, and then getting USB 4 into it, versus like various Thunderbolt versions, like, that adds complications too, because technically USB 4 and Thunderbolt 4 should basically be the same, but they're not really. There are a couple of things that Thunderbolt might have that USB 4 doesn't necessarily have to have, although for all intents and purposes, they might be the same. And then, of course, Thunderbolt 5 is its own thing too. So, like, I bought off of Kickstarter, I got like this, like a cable charger, basically like a connector thing. And it was like $120 for this thing that basically you can plug a cable into, and you can see its voltage, and or not voltage, I guess it's amperage or whatever, and you can see like its transfer speed, and you can basically like check
Yeah.
that on like a little display, which is useful. But the fact that, like, you have to buy that sometimes to like figure out, well, okay, well, which cable is this, right? And then, to your point about lengths, right? So, like, okay, so you want something that's going to be fast charging but also high speed data transfer. All right, well, that means that the cable's going to have to be stiff. It's not going to be able to be something that's really bendable, which of course is what most people are going to want. So, like, you can get a fast charge, like a 240 watt or 100 20 watt or whatever, like USB 2.0 transfer speed cable. But if you want one that's going to be, fast charging and fast data transfer, then like that's a different type. And they have like limited lengths, which again can also be associated with like Thunderbolt, or Thunderbolt, cables are much more expensive. And but their lengths are limited. Yeah.
Did you
It's
know
very confusing.
did you know that in rare circumstances there are even devices that will only charge with an A to C cable?
Yes.
That's
Yes.
so insane.
Yeah, no, I've run into that myself, and then that's a weird thing, and I don't even know how that should work, because it's a bizarre thing. You're like, okay, well, I thought this was just like a, maybe like a dumb end, but it's like, no,
Well,
there's like,
yeah,
basically a microchip
like a
in
two
these
pin to
cables at this
two
point.
pin, like two
Right.
pin to two pin, no PD. Like you would think that would work with C to C, but somehow it has to be A to C. I am
Right.
getting one of those cable testers. I asked for one for Christmas so I could figure out this pile of cables I have. And like my Sonos Ace headphones are very particular about which cables and what charging hub I hook them up to.
Right.
And
Oh
I
yeah,
gotta,
hubs. I was going to say hubs introduce a whole other
yeah,
complication into this too, because depending on what hub you're using, or if you're using a USB hub, it may or may not have certain things versus a Thunderbolt hub versus something else,
right.
versus just like a power brick. Like, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's fun stuff.
Yeah, no, it's annoying. And and what was frustrating about this is like some of the cables, if they're better, like you can look at the the bottoms of them, and you can see like they will have like the USB like 4, or they might have 3.2, or they might have like the Thunderbolt
Mhm.
icon with its version, so you can figure out, is this 20 gigabits, is this 40, is this 80. But that's not a guaranteed thing, and that also doesn't guarantee authenticity of stuff, right? So a lot of the
Right.
cables you buy off the internet can be, and they might be, or even at stores, right? Like if you're not buying something from, even if you get things from Belkin or whoever, like those things can have issues too. Um, Although they at least tend to have better warranties. I bought a Belkin like a PD cable, like a 240 cable, that I think was like 10 feet long or something. It was supposed to have some sort of long warranty, and because the faster transfer ones are, even though it was braided, it's stiff, and it broke. Like there was like the the connect the part of the cable near the end did that thing that typically Apple cables do, where like it started fraying, and you started like
Mhm.
seeing the exposed wires,
Yeah.
and then like you start to like feel like like an electric charge, like when you
Little
touch the
tingle.
cable, and you're,
Yeah.
yeah, and you're like, okay, this isn't good. And so I at least had my Amazon receipt, so I was able to like get them to mail me a new one relatively easily. And like Anchor has an okay warranty too, but it's one of those things you're like, okay, when did I buy this? I was like, I didn't even buy this a year ago, and this thing already
Yeah.
crapped out. Versus you can get some really nice braided cables that are flexible, but they're just going to be 2.0 speeds.
Yeah.
And then if you buy, you just buy like some random cable, like at the airport or whatever, you're like, all right, well, I don't even know
Right.
anything about this. Yeah,
I've heard
it's a
good
mess.
things. I've heard good things about the company Cable Matters.
Yeah, yeah, they make good stuff. They make good stuff. But again, at least the cables that I have been primarily stiffer cables, because they
Yeah.
tend to be like the higher transfer speeds. So like I have a cable matters Thunderbolt cable, and I have like a USB 4 cable, I think. But like these are cables that like I have one that I kind of travel with, but I don't either keep it in its little cable matters plastic um so they come in like these cases, not these cases, they come in like these almost like a Ziploc bag type of things, which is a great way to ship cables, honestly, rather than using a box. And like I might toss one of those in a suitcase or a backpack, rather than having like the cable just out there loose. But I do that primarily because, again, like they're stiff, and they're not the sorts of things that I necessarily want like in the bottom of my bag, potentially getting broken and
Yeah.
twisted and all of that. They are overpriced for what they are, and they are definitely not like, they're not a high transfer cable. But if you can find them on sale, the Beats cables, the branded Beats cables, I actually like them better than the Apple cables
Hmm.
that are the same thing, because they're longer by a few inches than the Apple ones, but they're still braided and they're nice. And I was able to get, I don't know, this was not even Black Friday, but this was sometime in like early November, I think, or maybe it was like late October. It might have been a Prime Day thing, I don't know, but they were like $8 or $9 a piece. And so I bought like 5 or 6 of them. And they are, PD and like fast charging cables. They might not be 240, but I think they were like 100 and, like 20 watts or whatever. But not high transfer speeds, but if you're wanting to just quickly charge something and have it, be a decent
Sure.
length and be like flexible, those I don't hate. Um, Anchor makes pretty good cables. Ugreen seems to be the company that's sponsoring everyone now for various things. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I've started using MagSafe more and more, like wireless charging when I can for some
Yeah.
things, at least for phones.
Yeah, I actually have
Because
some Ugreen wireless charging solutions that are really good.
yeah, I just got one of their 10,000 milliampere battery, fast charging battery things, because now the MagSafe can be like up to 30 watts or whatever, or 25 watts or whatever it is. Like it's a lot more usable than when it was like 10 or even 15. You're like, okay, this is actually n- not going to be like the slowest
Yeah.
charging thing known to man. But of course, obviously, it's like you can use it with your phone and with your AirPods, but the rest of the things out there don't all support Qi 2. So
Right.
yeah.
All right. So, I want to talk about TV a little bit.
Yeah, I
I
think before we do that, though, we should probably hit
Oh,
a,
we should. We
a
have 2 sponsors to fit in. Jesus, I
we
should
do,
get on
yeah.
that. Let's start with Shopify. This episode is brought to you by Shopify. Have you been dreaming of owning your own business? In addition to having something to sell, you'll need a website, a payment system, a logo, a way to advertise to new customers, etc., etc. It can all be overwhelming and confusing, but that's where today's sponsor, Shopify, comes in. Shopify is the commerce platform behind millions of businesses around the world and 10% of all e-commerce in the US, from household names like Mattel and Gymshark to brands just getting started. Get started with your own design studio with hundreds of ready-to-use templates. Shopify helps you build beautiful online store to match your brand style. Accelerate your content creation. Shopify is packed with helpful AI tools that write product descriptions, page headlines, and even enhance your product photography. Get the word out like you have a marketing team behind you. Easily create email and social media campaigns wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling. And best yet, Shopify is your commerce expert with world-class expertise in everything from managing inventory to international shipping to processing returns and beyond. If you're ready to sell, you're ready for Shopify. Turn your big business idea into with Shopify on your side. Sign up for your $1 per month trial and start selling today at shopify.com/overtired. Go to shopify.com/overtired. That is shopify.com/overtired. Thanks, Shopify.
Thank you, Shopify.
It'll be just tight as hell by the time people hear it, but that was rough. That read you just heard, I edited like 6 places because I don't know. I'm tired. I've been up since
You,
2 today.
yeah, shit, man. That's yeah. You again, like you've been having like sleep issues. This is a classic
Maybe I
Overtired.
shouldn't be doing sponsor reads.
No. No, we definitely want to talk about TV. Do we want to do our second
Yeah,
ad break now?
let's do a block. Let's make it a block.
All right, let's do a block. All right, fantastic. All right, well, since we are about to go into 2026, this is a great time to think about your finances. So, are you ready to take control of your finances? Well, meet Copilot Money. This is the personal finance app that makes your money feel clear and calm. With a beautiful design, smart automation, Copilot Money brings all of your spending, saving, and investment accounts into one place It's available on iOS, Mac, iPad, and now on the web, which is really great because I know for me anyway, that's one of my one kind of things about some of these like tools like this
Like,
is that there's
yeah,
not a web app. I'm really bothered by it. This is, it's a frustration that like the Apple Card for a long time, you couldn't really access things on the web. Even now, it's
yep,
still kind of messy, like being able to handle things on the web. But
yep.
as we enter 2026, it is time for a fresh start. And so, with the Mint shutdown and rising financial uncertainty, consumers are seeking clarity and control. And this is where Copilot Money comes in. So, Copilot Money can help you track your budgets, your savings goals, and your net worth seamlessly. Plus, with the new web launch, you can enjoy a stunning experience on any device, which is really good. And guess what? For a limited time, you can get 26% off your first year when you sign up through the web app. New users only. Don't miss out on the chance to start the new year with confidence. There are features like automatic subscription tracking, so you'll never miss upcoming charges again. Copilot Money's privacy first approach ensures that your data is secure, and their team is dedicated to helping you stress less about money. So, whether you're a finance pro or just starting out, Copilot Money is there to help you make better decisions. Visit try.copilot.money/overtired and use the code OVERTIRED to sign up for your 1 month free trial and embrace financial clarity. That's try.copilot.money/overtired. Use the coupon OVERTIRED. And again, that is 26% off for your first year. So thank you, Copilot Money, for sponsoring this week's episode. Oh, one other note about Copilot Money. They were an Apple Design Award finalist. So it's a really well-designed app. And we love to see apps like this available on the web as well as iOS and macOS.
I have started using it very much because of the web version, and
Yeah.
it is really good.
Yeah, no,
Um,
yeah, for me that is like an actual like concrete requirement. Any
yeah,
money tracking
like
app.
I've paid. I have about 8 months left. I paid for a year of Rocket Money or whatever it's called now, and I've always loved that app. But yeah, it does not have a web interface. And once I started trying Copilot out, I
Yeah.
realized how much I really did want a web interface for that stuff. You know what
Yeah.
else? Have you seen Umami, the analytics platform?
Yes.
It is so good, and it's open source, and you can
Yes.
self-host, and it is like I've been using Fathom Analytics for a long time, and I
Mhm.
like Fathom, but Umami is it has like all of the advanced stuff you would get with Google Analytics, but with like way more privacy focus, and you're not giving information to Google for one. And the interface is beautiful. I love that. It's so good.
Yeah, no, Umami is really good. I think there's another one. I'm trying to think of what it was called. There are a number of these various analytics hosted things, but no, Umami is definitely a really good one. And I like. It reminds me. It was what was it? It was Mint. It was
Yeah,
Mint. Sean
Mint.
Inman's Mint, which was
I was just
which
gonna
is
ask you if you remembered that.
yeah, which was one of the plausible analytics. It's another one too, which is also like they have a hosted version, but you can also self host, and that's also another good one. But yeah, Mint was like my all time favorite, app. I loved that.
What was his RSS one? Fever.
Fever, which
Fever.
was
Fever was
was the
so cool.
best. Fever was the best, and it was funny. Like I think I've talked about this before. I was more insulated and like less upset than some people by the Google Reader death because I had I'd been using Fever for so long, and
Yeah.
then obviously stopped being updated and doesn't really work super well with like the latest versions of PHP and things like that. But a lot of people were really understandably and still more than a decade on, very upset by the death of Google Reader. But I think because I'd paid for and used, my own self-hosted Fever installation, and then there were apps that people use for APIs and whatnot to build Mac OS or iOS apps or whatever. Like I was obviously upset about Google Reader being shut down, but I was like, okay, I can just move on to something else. And I've used Feeder, not
Mhm.
Feeder.
Reader.
Is no, maybe it's not Feed Demon. That was like the OG one. It'll come to me.
Feed
Because
bin.
yes, thank you, Feedben. Thank you. one of the ones that's still around from like the various Google Reader alternatives. Like many of
Yeah.
them, closed up shop because
Yeah.
they kind of realized, like Google Reader, like this is unfortunately a niche market. Now that didn't help the fact that when web browser Safari I think started at first, and then Firefox did, and then Chrome was fairly early too. Like when all the web browsers took away like RSS buttons to make it easy to subscribe to feeds
Mhm.
or to auto discover feeds, and you had to like install like an extension or whatever to do that. Like that all helped with the demise of RSS in a lot of ways, and of course people moving everything into closed platforms and social networks and stuff that
In the
didn't
tech
have those
world,
things.
though, so I have my blog gets about 20,000 visits a week,
Hmm.
but it gets 30,000 RSS downloads, like daily.
Yeah.
30,000 readers are pulling my site. So RSS is far from dead in the tech world.
Right.
Um,
Well, I think in a certain demographic, right? I think if you were to ask like a new like college grads, I don't think that any of them are using RSS.
sure.
At least not actively, right? Like, I mean, you might have a few, but like it's just not going to be like a thing where they're going to be like they might be using some apps that do similar types of things and might even pull in feed sources, maybe, but it's just not like a like when I was graduating from college or in college, like everybody had RSS clients, and that was just kind of
Yeah.
a known
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah. So
So
speaking of traffic,
yeah,
I don't did I mention that I got delisted on Bing and
you
DuckDuckGo?
did, you
I
did.
am I'm
Did you
back
figure that
now.
out? You're back now.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm back now, and I have switched to using Kagi as my
Yes.
primary search engine, and
Yeah.
they replicate all of DuckDuckGo's Bang searches.
Yes. That's
So
what one of the things I love about them. Yes.
I was pleased to see there's a Bang Terp search on Kagi.
Nice.
I
Is it
actually use
Kaji or is it
that.
Kagi? Because I think I've
I
always
don't
called it
know.
Kagi. Yeah. It's
Kagi,
K.
Kagi,
It's K. It's Kagi for anybody who's 'cause I don't know how to if it's Kagi, Kaji, Kaji,
yeah,
whatever. But
it'll
it's
be in the show
Kagi.
notes.
Yeah,
What
it's
the fuck
great.
ever. We'll just call it KGI. Um, and yeah, so like I was super happy because I used the Bang Terp to search my own site. I
Yeah.
just got used to doing that. Um, but it is like the reason I switched to said web search engine is because you can report sites that are just AI slop, and
Nice.
they will verify those reports and remove or flag slop sites in your search results. Because I was getting sick, even with DuckDuckGo, like 5
Oh
out of
yeah.
10 results were always I get there, I'd get one, maybe two paragraphs into an article and realize, oh, someone just typed in my search term into ChatGPT and then
Oh
pasted
yeah.
or automated it, sure.
Oh, I
But
was gonna say it's automated at this point, and like to be clear, like a lot of search results, even before like the rise of like generative AI, were a variant of this, where you would see like people like buying older domain names that expired.
to
Well, yeah, but even before that happened, I mean, that obviously when the Christina Warren and Brett Terpstra, and then they changed your name. I
you're
think
like Jason Terpstra or something.
something like that. Yeah, it was weird. I mean, does that site did have they given up the ghost on that? I'm curious. Um, yeah, wow. Okay, they are still well. No, they haven't published anything since November 30th. So something has happened where they are they're definitely cutting down on various things. Oh no, Paul Terpstra. Oh my God, Paul Terpstra, you are still
Yeah.
like you were like the one author there that I see on this website. Um, Now, what was messed up about this? Although no, okay, their homepage, the last one they say is like November 30th. But if you click on the Paul Terpstra handle, then like you see December 22nd, which is today as we're recording this.
Oh,
But
wow, I didn't even realize.
yeah. So, all right, so that is still somehow that grift is still going on. But yeah, I mean, even before the rise of those things, you would see, sites that would either buy up dead domains and then like have like very similar looking content but slightly different, maybe, injected with a bunch of, links or whatever, or you would see people who would, do very clearly SEO written and probably, like again, pre-generative AI, but assisted slop content. But yeah, now it's crazy. Like, and it doesn't help that like the AI summaries, which can be useful, but and they're getting better, which is good only because they're so prominent. Like I'm not a fan of them, but if you're not using an alternative search engine, like you see these AI summaries, and like if they're bad, and sometimes they are, then
Often are.
well, they've gotten better. Is the
Yeah,
only thing I will say. I still wouldn't rely on them, but I've noticed I've noticed a genuine like uptick and like improvements and like how awful they are probably in like the last 6 weeks, which is
okay.
damning with faint praise. I'm not at all saying it's good. I am simply saying it's like I'm primarily thinking for like people who are like less tech savvy relatives who are going to just go to,
Yeah,
bing.com or google.com and then see those sorts of things, right?
yeah.
And we're not going to be able to convince them to go to a third party search engine. Although, some people, like I think my mom was using DuckDuckGo for a while as like her default on her iPhone, which I was like proud of her about, but I was also kind of like, that's got its own issues. But no, I like Kagi a lot.
Yeah.
I've been
Well, and
paying
it's
for that for a
so
while.
keyboard driven. Like
Yes.
DuckDuckGo has good keyboard shortcuts. Kagi/Kagi has even better keyboard shortcuts. Like you can navigate and control everything with like Gmail style single key
Yep.
keyboard shortcuts, which I really like.
Yeah, yeah, I like that too. And then they of course they make like a WebKit like a browser that they've backported a lot of Chrome extensions to. I personally don't see the point in that.
Yeah.
I think that if you're going to be like that committed to like using like the the web extension format and like using like more popular extensions, you might as well just use a Chrome fork. If you don't want to use Chrome, which is fine, but like you could use a browser like Helium, which we talked about last show, which has the hash bangs kind of integrated in, or you could use, if you wanted to use the Firefox
Is
for.
Orion the one you're talking about? That
Yes.
yeah.
That
Okay.
yeah, that's Kagi's thing. And that was actually originally how I heard about them, was because I was like, oh, this is interesting. This is a kind of an interesting, kind of alternative browser. And then it turned out that that was just kind of in some ways, kind of a front to promote the search engine, which is the real, thing. Which is fine, right? I mean, that was Google's model.
Well, yeah. Well, and we should mention for anyone who hasn't tried it, it is a paid
Yes.
service. And you are getting search results with no ads and spam AI slot protection and all of the benefits you would expect from a paid service. So I think, like for me, $5 a month gets me, I think, 300 searches, which is plenty for me. Like I guess I'm still waiting to see. I've never counted how many searches I do a month, but
Yeah.
if I, like 3 searches a day would come out to like 90 searches a month, and I have 300 available, so I think I'll be fine.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, you basically being able to get to do 10 a day, which in most cases is fine. What I've done is I'm on like they have a family plan, and they don't care. They even, I think, in their documentation, or at least they did, they do not care if you are like actually in a family with the people that you are on or not. So if you, find some folks that you want to kind of sync up with, you can like, be on a family plan together and you can save money on whatever um, their pricing stuff is.
Cool.
So um, so me and Justin Williams are in a
Justin
family
Williams.
together.
I haven't heard that name in forever.
Yeah, yeah. We went to see Oasis together. We went both nights in Los Angeles
Huh.
in August. Yeah. Or September rather. Yeah. So, okay. So this is how this works. They have their starter plan is $5 a month, which includes, and they do have an AI assistant too. So it's funny. They have the AI slot protection, but they also have like an AI assistant that you can use and like an AI summarizer and whatnot. That's $5 a month. And then there's the professional plan, which is that's for 300 searches a month for the standard AI for starter, $5 a month. The professional plan is unlimited searches and standard AI. That's $10 a month. And then the ultimate is everything in professional, plus you get like premium model access, which okay. But the family plan is so you can do one of two things. There you have a duo plan, which is 2 professional accounts for a couple, which is $14 a month plus sales tax. So it's average of $7 per person, which I think is what Justin and I are on. And then there's a family plan with up to 6 family members, and again, they don't care if you are actually in a family or not, and that's $20 a month. So the real thing to do if you're wanting to like save on this is like find 5 friends,
Yeah.
get on the $20 a month, family plan thing, spread the cost. And that way you can get the, professional plan for less. But to your
All
point,
right.
most people, it's probably $300 searches a month is probably plenty. And
Yeah.
if you search a lot like we do, I think is worth paying for.
Yeah. Yeah. All right.
But anyway, we wanted to talk about TV. So let's get into that.
We're at 50 minutes already. So I think we need to choose whether we do TV or gratitude.
Do you have a gratitude, like a good one?
No, I have a throwaway one.
Okay, well, let's talk about
it. It was
TV.
one of those, like, I looked at my doc and I was like, oh, I don't think I've talked about that, even though I probably have. Yeah, let's just talk about TV. So I have been noting, and my question in the show notes was, is TV just okay now? Because I've been I watched Stranger Things, Pluribus, Down Cemetery Road, Platonic, and all of it was entertaining, but it wasn't like must-watch TV. None of it was as good as like Modern Family. Modern Family was fucking good TV, like family friendly, and just like I've been through that series so many times, and it's always fun, and it's always better than like Pluribus. I like the concept, kinda. It's not all that engaging.
Oh, I like
guess.
it. I like it, but
I don't hate it. Like I do like it, but it's not like I don't count the days until the next episode comes out. And I miss things being really good. So you had a couple responses to that though.
Well, I mean, I tend to agree with you. So first of all, I put in the show notes. There's a link to a thing that the James M. Poswiak wrote for the New York Times. A year and a half ago now, called "The Comfortable Problem of Mid TV." And he said it's got a great cast. It looks cinematic. It's fine, and it's everywhere. And kind of talking about like we went from like the era of like peak TV to now being what he's dubbed like mid TV. And I think that there's some truth to that. And he even cites at the beginning, let me say up front, this is not an essay about how bad TV is today, just the opposite. There's little truly bad high profile television made anymore. It's more talking about like what we have instead today is something less awful, but in a way more sad. The willingness to retreat, to settle, to trade the ambitious for the dependable. And I think that there's some truth to that. I think that we see this with movies now too, and with movies, it's actually much more of a problem. Like there are some really high highs, but because the movie industry is in such a bad place, it's that much more notable when like you don't have like a big strong slate of things, and so it's more of a problem. TV, for better or worse, has become the dominant entertainment form, and yeah, I think that it's fine. But there are very few things that I'm like, oh wow, yeah, that's like, The Wire. Not that anything is, but you know what I mean? But even like Pluribus, which I really like. I actually think that's my favorite show of 2025, at least new show. Well, maybe the studio. The studio I might put
that was pretty good.
Above that. But like it's one of those things where I'm like, okay, it's not Breaking Bad, right? Like if we're going to be comparing Vince Gilligan shows, and maybe that's unfair, but it's just, but still, like you're going to be compared to your last hit, and that is what it is. I will say though, like I haven't watched Stranger Things in years, and I don't think I can force myself to like care about that again, but I've heard kind of mixed things.
That's where Elle is too. Elle doesn't care, and then there's the whole like two cast members being Zionists kind of turned a whole bunch of people off, and
Well,
it
David Harbour's whole Lily Allen thing. Are you familiar with this lore at all?
no,
Okay, you know who Lily Allen is.
yes,
Okay, so she and David Harbour were married, and she wrote an album called West End Girl that came out like in November, which is actually a really good album, which is like White Girl Lemonade, where she just basically reads him to filth for being an absolute piece of shit. Like apparently, like, you know, they were together, they were married or whatever. She goes off to London to perform in a play, and he's like, oh, we're going to be away for months. I want to sleep with other people. And so they kind of like, she kind of accepts getting into an open relationship with him, even though she didn't really want to be, which look, that's her bad, whatever. But then he proceeds to like do things that was not what they'd agreed upon the parameters of their relationship. And then she's just like brutally honest about the entire thing. And so as you're listening to this album, you're just learning more and more about
oh
like David
no,
Harbour's like sex life and stuff, and like it's just on blast. It's incredible. But yeah, so there's some of that stuff. There's I don't know, like I don't really follow the rest of the cast stuff, except that the girl who plays 11, like I frequently want to smack because just the most annoying celebrity on the planet. But like putting that aside, I stopped caring. It took them too long between seasons.
yeah,
And the budget for that show is also so insane. I'm like, you cost more than Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones was even at its worst was a better show than Stranger Things.
agree.
So like yeah. But that goes to your point. Like it's okay.
Yeah, exactly.
I will say the new season of Fallout just premiered, and so far I'm still really enjoying that.
Okay, I have yet to see it.
You should definitely watch the first season.
What is it on?
Amazon.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
and it's really, really good. And this year they are doing the episodic, not episodic, the weekly drop, right, rather than the binge thing. So the first season, they dropped it all at once, and I was a little bit worried. I was like, "Fuck, does that mean they don't believe in this? What are they going to do?" Wound up being like Amazon's biggest hit after their Lord of the Rings, thing, and so it was immediately kind of picked up for a second season, and it was picked up for a third season before the second season even premiered. And that might be the final one, they're saying, but who knows? But so far anyway, like there's only been one episode, but it's been good so far.
Okay.
But what I was going to talk to you about is the gay hockey show.
Which is?
It's called Heated Rivalry. It's on HBO Max. It was originally just supposed to be on a Canadian streamer called Crave, and then at the 11th hour, HBO Max picked it up and was like, "Okay, we'll play this in some of our territories and other things." And I want to be very clear: this is not high art at all. This is like no way. Like this actually, in some ways, it personifies the TV is just okay now thing, but in other ways, it's actually a little bit more interesting just because the cultural phenomenon that has happened around it in like the last like it hasn't even been out a month, and it's only 6 episodes, although they are also going to be getting a second season. It's sort of wild how like I'd seen a trailer for it and I was like, okay, whatever. And like it came out, I think, like right after Thanksgiving. And then like within like 2 or 3 weeks, like literally I wasn't following anything around it, but my Instagram, my TikTok, Twitter, everything that I was seeing was just all about the discourse around the show. And it's like a bunch of us all seem to have discovered it like one weekend where we were like, okay, we're going to actually sit down and watch the gay hockey show. And this is exactly what it is. It is a gay hockey show. So it is based on, there was a series of books that this female writer, Rachel Reed, wrote about like, I think like they were like ebooks types of thing. I think, although there is now, I think like a hardcover release because they've been so popular. And it's just erotic. It's just smut, right? It's basically fanfic dressed up in something else. And the idea was like, okay, you have like these, male like hockey players who are closeted and kind of have like this romance that starts from like 2008 through like, I don't know, like 2017 or 2018. And there are a number of different books or stories in the universe, but the one that people liked the most was the second book, which is called Heated Rivalry. You don't really need to know any about that. the big thing about the show is that it is essentially like softcore gay porn. But yet it's like weirdly compelling in a way. Like it is very like there's some sweet aspects to it. Like you were before the show, you were saying, oh, it's kind of like Heartstopper. Could not be further from Heartstopper, because Heartstopper is very sweet and twee and kind of like loving and like whatnot. This is like, like guys in their 20s with amazing asses, like doing things to one another kind of in secret. And the thing is, there's not a whole lot of plot. Like the plot is the porn, because the whole thing is that like they don't have time to spend a lot of time together because they're closeted and they're rivals. Oh, that's the whole conceit. It's like they're these two great hockey players, and they play for opposing teams, and they're like each other's biggest rivals, but like they're fucking. um and it's again, it's not high art at all.
Who's the target audience for this?
Here's the interesting thing. So the books are almost entirely read by women. And which makes sense. There's a lot of like, like male, like the history of slash fic goes back to like fanfic in general, like goes back to like women writing like Spock and what's his face together, Kirk together. Yeah. And so the books are almost entirely consumed by women, and probably straight women, although probably some queer women too. But the show seems to be a mix of gay men, straight women, although I've seen a lot of lesbians into it as well.
Really?
Yeah, because again, like the discourse is just kind of ridiculous, and the memes are fun. The guy who created it, he's gay, or created the television adaptation, he's gay. And I think he's done a pretty good job with it. The leads are the thing that's like incredible, like especially the guy who plays the Russian character Ilya. That actor is really, really good, and he's Texan, and yet he does like a great Russian accent, and he's very attractive, and like I can see like why a lot of people are into it. But it's funny because like New York Magazine, like they weren't even covering the show, which why would you? It was like some Canadian kind of thing that barely gets picked by HBO. Then it takes off, and now like they're covering it. The last time I remember New York Magazine covering a show like this, like vociferously, was Gossip Girl, like 18 years ago. And it kind of reminds me of that, where like everybody woke up one day when they're like, oh, this is like a cultural moment now. So again, not good television. Probably not going to necessarily be for everyone, but it's a moment. And like I kept seeing edits. I kept seeing edits on TikTok and stuff, and I was like, okay, do I have to watch the gay hockey show? All right, I have to watch the gay hockey show. So that we might be at the point where like TV is just okay, but at least there are some good like moments about where as a culture we can all like agree, okay, we're all going to be talking about this one thing.
That sounds like what I'll be doing on Christmas Day.
Oh my God, actually that would be a great thing to watch on Christmas, and I think that the final episode is going to come out like the day after Christmas. So there you go.
Done deal. Cool. All right, well, we're recording this the same morning the show's supposed to come out, so I got to do some editing, but thanks for showing up while you're in Atlanta. And yeah, this has been a fun classic, Overtired.
Absolutely. Well, get some sleep, take care of yourself, happy holidays. Hope that Christmas isn't too weird for you, and and Happy New Year.
You too. Get some sleep.
The system is going down now.